You asked me to wear my Def Leppard Pyromania t-shirt. I'm wearing it tonight. You can see me live on the Chris Krok Show Facebook page, at Chris Krok Show. Follow me, at Chris Krok Show, ChrisKrok. Click on the public figure, click like, and there it is, live at the same time. Hey, don't you just love the news we just got? We may be in another ERCOT Conserve Power Watch coming up. Woo-hoo-hoo! Who's excited with me? Huh? Who's with me?
Oh, Hercules.
I'm excited. As Popra would say. So, let me ask you a few questions. You're hearing the news, first of all, I guess. Sub-freezing temperatures expected to last multiple days throughout the state. Now, that's the big thing. The entire state is going to be sub-zero, not sub-zero, but cold, very cold. All right? Sub-freezing temperatures, which to us feels like sub-zero, but it's not. Higher electrical demand, potential for lower power reserves, equals we might have a weather watch coming. And then we could get a voluntary conservation notice. The first one is weather watch, and they ask us to consider bringing our power down. Then comes the voluntary conservation notice. Then comes a couple other levels, DEFCON 2, DEFCON 1. I'll tell you what those are coming up in a few. But I wanted to ask you this. Most of the state below freezing temperatures, below 32 degrees, right? Is this really abnormal for Texas? I mean, I've been here for 14 years as of Easter Sunday this year, which is only, 3 months away. And it does not strike me in my 14 years of living here and my 2 years prior in the late 90s in Austin. It does not strike me as out of the ordinary that we would have temperatures in January and most likely February that could have statewide temperatures below freezing. So my first thing I want to just throw out there to you, is this abnormal for Texas from what you've seen? I don't think this is abnormal. It gets cold. But the big questions, or as Dwayne would say, the big questions. Will you be lowering your power usage Sunday and thereafter? They're calling on us to conserve power, to look at this. They got a weather watch January 15th through the 17th. As I pull up my fancy calendar on my computer, that would be Monday through Wednesday. Well, how about that, y'all, huh?
How about that?
It's time to watch your power. It's time to turn it down, etc., etc., etc. What are you going to do? Are you going to be lowering your power usage Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Will you be lowering your power usage the next 3 days, Sunday through Wednesday, and thereafter when temperatures plummet? Will you be following any advice from ERCOT to do your part, quote unquote? And what's your message to ERCOT as we again face possible serious grid problems or even collapse? And why do you think we don't have enough energy? I know the answer to that one. 800-288, I'll tell you the answer in a sec. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I will not be changing my temperature in my house. I will not be lowering or raising anything in my house. I will be living my life as a free Texan. I will be living my life with freedom and not thinking or whatever. I'm just doing, because I am in a free state. And if my grid collapses or near collapses, that is not my problem. None of us voted for this crap. None of us voted to replace our fossil fuels with wind and solar. And our governor, whom I voted for and will always vote for when he runs for re-election, he is responsible along with our Republican legislature because they have refused to do something to counterbalance the federal subsidies that have gone to energy companies. Energy companies, when they come to Texas or when they're in Texas, they don't care how they make the money. They just want to make money. The problem is the federal government has bastardized our energy systems in this country, in our grids, by making it a lot more enticing, incentivizing for energy companies to build the green crap that doesn't work when it's not sunny and windy out. And so 33% of our grid relies on this green crap, this unreliable green crap. And we thought that when Trump said way back when, hey, honey, no, I can't watch TV. Look, the wind's not blowing. Or, honey, I got to turn the TV off. The lights are off because we don't have any sun. Sun's down. It's night. We all thought he was just kind of exaggerating and joking, but here we are. And look, I'm not going to lie or hide the truth. One of the big reasons why our grid is also structurally overloaded at times is because of the invasion of out-of-state people that have come over the past 5 to 10 years. Californians principally, New Yorkers, Illinoisans, and others have also completely overloaded this grid and surged the demand for housing and the prices for housing in our market, and in our state. So that is part of it too. Yes, we've had millions and millions of people move here in the past decade. And that is also tremendously overloading the grid. But I will not change my habits. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to live my life. How about you? As we now find out today, surprise, 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 we will have an energy, whatever you call it, a voluntary conservation notice may be issued on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because of the demand on the grid, because we're all going to be cranking up our electricity for various reasons. So that is a big one right there. Will you be doing that? Will you be adjusting them? Will you be sacrificing? And what's your message to ERCOT as we again face possible serious grid problems or even a collapse? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. And why do you think we don't have enough energy? I've explained it. Bastardization of our grid with green energy. And I've also explained it by the explosion of the population. But I blame, look, we did have this, remember on the ballot for our last voting time at the voting booth here, November, we did, as Texans, vote in the expansion of the grid by the expansion of the energy supply of the grid by providing incentivization for energy companies to build a natural gas plant. Natural gas and coal plants are what saved us when our grid almost collapsed, 3 years ago in the wintertime in February? That's what it was. I've told you about this. I've retweeted a million times on my Twitter feed, at Chris Krok Show. That's at Chris Krok Show, CHRISKROK, showing you from the Wall Street Journal the graph, the grid they made, and you can see coal was cranked up a bunch more than its regular baseline because you can do that with fossil fuels. And natural gas was insane. Natural gas was, I want to say between 5 and 20%. They just turned it up to 11. It just went boom, 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 boom on the graph. And solar and wind crashed and provided between 0 and 3%. Nothing. And so I do blame our Republican governor. It started with Governor Bush, and then it went on to Governor Perry, and of course now Governor Abbott have not done anything to push back. And Governor Abbott received, I want to remind you this, he received an award from the wind and solar industry about 2 to 3 weeks before we almost had that grid collapse 3 years ago in the winter storm of February. There you go. All right, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Will you be lowering your power usage when if ERCOT does, in fact, order they're ordering a weather watch, but if they order a voluntary conservation notice, are you going to make it colder in your house to save the grid? You going to do your part? I'm not. And what's your message to ERCOT as we face a possible serious grid problem or even collapse? And why do you think we don't have enough energy? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, I'm going to tell you about what the next two levels after voluntary conservation notice. What is DEFCON 2 and DEFCON 1? What are the next two levels after that? What we could face next week in the next coming storms, in these upcoming storms, on the Chris Krok Show on News Talk 820 WBAP. Hola, señor Carlos Santana. A mí me gusta mucho el Carlos Santana. Okay, here we go. The grid, they're telling us again between January 15th and 17th, we got to go through this crap again. You know what I say? Screw it. Live your life. And let them figure it out. You know what I say? And some people would say, "Oh, you're selfish." Some people say, "Oh, there's handicapped people, or there's people on respirators, or ventilators." Hey, I am not going. This is what take one for the team. No. We're not in a third world country yet. Do you know this crap happens in a third world country? Where the power goes out 6-8 times a day for half hour every day around the same time, or intermittently. In most of those countries like that, here's how they talk: click, 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 click. Is that us? Is that us? Last time I checked, the world currency, which their BRICS is trying to change that, but the world currency is the dollar. We're supposed to be controlling everything, or the biggest, I say controlling everything. Well, kind of. And here we are. Please turn your power down. It's going to be cold. Get out of here. Fix the grid. Oh, by the way, I have a little update. Seriously. You may not have caught this. And producer Gary, you let me know if you heard of this. And we probably did cover this. But on their news, but maybe not on the talk shows, more in depth. And what it is I don't know if you caught this the other day. It was in the Dallas Morning News. We have Texas has made worked out a deal with Louisiana for power. Did you know about that? Okay, so here's what it is. I read it in the Dallas Morning News a couple days ago. And what it is we are going to, the project is starting shortly. It's not even begun. It's going to take probably, I have no idea, probably several years, maybe less. Who knows? All I know is we're going to hook up to Louisiana's grid, and Louisiana's going to hook up to our grid, but we will still be on our own. We will choose to, if we want to share some with Louisiana on times of plenty and they need it, we may if we want to. And if we want to take some of Louisiana's, if they are willing to share it, we will. However, we're not beholden to the Joe Biden leftist cabal that controls the country's grid. So I'm fine with that, but that's not the only answer. It's not going to be enough. And my understanding is it's going to start around either Plano or Garland, one of those two. Obviously, the two touch at some point, I believe. And yeah, they do. In southeastern Plano and northwestern Garland, as far as I know. So, anyways, she's coming from one of those two, and it'll go to Louisiana. So, I'm fine with that. But no, I'm not going to be changing everything and lowering it down. Oh, I forgot to tell you. What does it mean when we go to DEFCON 2, DEFCON 1? What is that? DEFCON 1 and 2. After the weather watch they've already issued for us, if it gets worse, then they could issue a voluntary conservation notice. We're supposed to lower our power usage, which I'm not doing. And then the next two levels are a conservation appeal, where they beg, alms for the poor, please, sir. They could knock on your door. Hello, governor. Please, turn your power down. Please, for the sake of humanity. And then the next level after that is an energy emergency alert. Energy emergency alert. That's the next level. And then after that, we're all going to die. The grid's collapsing. The apocalypse is here. We are officially a third world country. My gosh. Okay. I wanted to talk about Hunter Biden and his appearance today at the Capitol. And the first thing he started is this. He showed up, as you know, at the Senate building when he was supposed to be appearing for a hearing. He showed up at the Senate building and held a press conference, across the street from where he was supposed to be for a hearing with the House closed door Intel committee hearing. And he had his own press conference. He changed the narrative, at least he tried to, with his attorneys and his supporters there. Today, it was an ultimate punk, wasn't it? Did you see that? It was an ultimate punk when, out of nowhere, today was when the House was going to be voting on to hold Hunter Biden in contempt and to then let the Justice Department know they need to decide if they're going to issue a warrant or not, and that's going to be very interesting to watch that unfold. So the hearing today about voting on whether or not to hold Hunter Biden in contempt for blowing off his behind closed doors committee hearing, where they could, interview him and ask him 400 some odd questions as long as they want, with attorneys and everything, and follow-up questions and everything, not the show in front of everybody. Anyway, so Hunter punked him. He showed up with his attorney, Abby Lowell, and with his sugar daddy, the guy who, there's so much we learned about this today. But I want to ask you, I'm going to play the audio. It's pretty dramatic, pretty crazy. If you haven't heard it yet, I'm sure you probably have. We'll play a little bit of it. But the other thing I want to ask you about is, do you think Hunter's hit-and-run tactics are actually working? And what do you think Republicans should do about these tactics? And do you think Republicans got played today by Hunter Biden, or do they play him? And how do you think Republicans should have handled the surprise congressional visit appearance today differently when Hunter did show up as a surprise? I'm going to tell you my thoughts on that. You're going to hear some great audio, sparks flying, and that is next. Chris Krok Show, News Talk 820 WBAP and 93.3 FM. Quick comment from my buddy Nathan. Texted me. He listens from time to time, and he says, we should turn off all the power at the government buildings. That'll keep us all toasty warm, and I'll turn my heat down when John Kerry stops flying private, or starts flying private. Amen to that. So there we go. Fun times, y'all. Okay, so Hunter Biden shows up. Dang, he punked him, didn't he? He shows up and surprised the Republicans, goes right into the hearing with his lawyer and with his sugar daddy, who is a lawyer slash, I think, Hollywood movie guy. And we learned so much, by the way. I'm going to tell you about the art. Remember Hunter's art? And how the White House said there was a wall between who buys the art and what we know, and the Galleria was separation. We made sure they did that so there were no contributions or whatever. Total lie. That came out today, too. We'll share that with you in a minute. But Hunter shows up with these two guys and stands there, and then he also puts his head, he shrugs his shoulders and puts his arms up like, hey, like, I'm right here. What is this? As if he's in charge and he's all cool. But you know why he did this? Two reasons. For his documentary this producer guy is doing with him, Hunter's going to do his own documentary instead of the one that showed him in his underwear, that one that came out last year. And so this will be his alternative documentary. I don't think most anybody's going to watch it. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. So it's twofold. It's to punk the Republicans. If this is not what his attorney wanted, he wouldn't have done this. And second of all, it's to get film for his documentary that he's filming. He has camera crew with him and everything. Let's hear some of the audio show that tell me this was a circus clown match and this was a circus act. And here's the thing. The Republicans got their butts handed to them. They did. They lost. He played them. He played him good. This is the second time he played him. You know what I've learned? You can't predict what this guy is going to do from this point forward. You couldn't after the first time, right? It's their job to be prepared for this. Expect this a bunch more. And have a plan in advance what to do. Have a plan in advance what to do. Because this can't keep happening. He won today. We lost. Embarrassing. Here is Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene today.
You're the epitome of white privilege. What are you afraid of? You have no balls.
If the gentlelady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold on. Order.
I think that that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail.
Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words.
Whoa.
That's when Marjorie Taylor Greene had the floor. I've got longer versions of that I can play, but that kind of sums it up. And then afterwards, I love this. Afterwards, the press was asking him some questions. It was just a massive amount of people following him with cameras and everything. And one reporter, Hillary Vaughn, got a question that he actually responded to. I've got that. But the first one is about what kind of crack he's smoking right now. Listen, this is great. Here, hold on.
What kind of crack do you normally smoke, Mr. Biden?
Mr. Biden.
What kind of crack do you normally smoke, Mr. Biden? Excuse me. Okay, then Hillary Vaughn, and I'm gonna correct how she answered because I think she could have tweaked her answer better.
Mr. Biden, why did you put your dad on speakerphone with your business partners if he had no involvement in your business?
Do you have a dad? Did he call you?
Yes.
Answer the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
But why did you need to talk to him during business meetings if he had nothing to do with your business?
She should have said not during business meetings. There's times I don't pick up my phone when my parents call. I don't pick up phone calls when I'm in a business meeting. Unless it's like I'm expecting something and it's an emergency or some kind of thing. I tell somebody at the beginning, hey, just so you know, I might have to pick this up. My wife's got something going on or whatever. But no. Anyways, but she should be more prepared, right? When you ask questions, you need to be able to respond. So I think the Republicans lost. It was a disaster. And they didn't win anything. And I think it was quite a punk. What do you think? Do you think Hunter's hit-and-run tactics are working? And what do you think Republicans should do about these tactics that he's using? And do you think Republicans got played today by Hunter, or did they play him? And how do you think Republicans should have handled Hunter's surprise congressional appearance differently today? Man, I think they almost should have ignored him, I guess. Because you cannot do anything about him. They acted apoplectic when they should have just laughed at it and said, look at this fool. You know, at best. Laughed at him and you know, kind of as you're talking and doing your business, you know, like this clown over here who's too afraid to show up. But not panic like Nancy Mace did. Dang, woman, you made us look bad. You don't have any balls, she said, and stuff like that. No, dude, this is a loser. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you think Hunter's hit-and-run tactics are working? And what do you think Republicans should do about his tactics? They got to have a plan. They got to be ready is what I think. And do you think Republicans got played today by Hunter, or do they play him? And how do you think Republicans should have handled his surprise congressional appearance differently today? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. The Judiciary panel today was debating whether to hold him in contempt of court. And so, I mean, here's the thing. They should, and I'm sure they will. And then it's a matter of Merrick Garland deciding whether or not he wants to actually put teeth in that and go arrest him. That will be fascinating to watch. Congressional leaders, Breitbart reported this today, congressional leaders could have sent the House Sergeant at Arms to arrest and detain Hunter for failing to comply with a subpoena. They should have. That's what they should have done. Just go over to the side and direct him to arrest him. Because the Republicans are in charge of the security now in the House. Also, speaking of Hunter's art, Hunter knew his art buyers, despite the White House claiming to the contrary. That's from the guy who was running the gallery. Hunter Biden's art representative, George Burgess. He was the one that ran the art gallery that sold all of Hunter's stuff, and he was put on a closed-door deposition. Unlike Hunter, he didn't blow off the closed-door deposition. He showed up and answered their questions, and he says that, no, the White House lied. There was no coordination between us and the White House. There was no wall of separation. I know exactly who sold these paintings, who bought these paintings from Hunter, and the biggest buyers are two people. The Democrat sugar daddy Kevin Morris, who is the producer and is the guy who paid off his tax balances and everything like that, he bought the lion's share of the art. He bought it. So what does that mean? A Democrat supporter, Democrat donor, paid Joe Biden's son hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy this painting and get his support through Joe. Number two, the other person who bought the art, according to the gallery owner, by the way, Hunter has earned over $1.3 million for his artwork. Dang, huh? The vast majority of Hunter Biden's art has been purchased by Democrat donors, says Breitbart, one of whom, here's the other one I didn't share with you yet, she was appointed to a prestigious commission by Joe Biden after she bought Hunter's art for tens of thousands of dollars and shortly after Joe Biden's inauguration. There you go. It's a bribe to Joe by giving them money. It's the same trick. Launder your money, give it to Hunter, and then bless Joe through Hunter. Wow, huh? Okay, coming up next on the Chris Krok Show, I also wanted to touch on this. Republicans are now adding a new threat. They're saying not only are they going to look at impeaching Alejandro Mayorkas, but they may also impeach SecDef Lloyd Austin and Merrick Garland if they don't do what they think is right. I'll tell you what I think about that coming up next on the Chris Krok program, News Talk 820 WBAP. And then the Elon Musk warning after these illegals filled up a high school, kicking out the students in New York City. Elon Musk warning about they're coming into our homes next. They're going to take over our homes next. Why he's not too far-fetched on that. All that's next on the Chris Krok Show, News Talk 820 WBAP and 93.3 FM. All right, so they want to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas, which, you know what's interesting and fascinating? My friend and regular guest on this show, former head of DPS operations and border operations, counterintelligence and counterterrorism, Jason Jones, who is now a Newsmax border correspondent, told me, and he's been saying Mayorkas should be impeached for a long time, but when he was on my show, when we had him on, last week I think it was, he literally said, though, it's nothing. They should have done it a year or two ago. The fact that they're trying to do something now is for show. It's disingenuous. It's fake. And that took me by surprise because he was the one saying we absolutely should be putting Mayorkas, impeaching him, but he's changed his mind now because it's too late. It's like they should have done it a year or two ago. Now, I'm okay with them impeaching Mayorkas for obvious reasons with the illegals, the invasion, but they're now talking about impeaching SecDef Lloyd Austin. That's, of course, short for Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who, as we all know, lied by not telling anybody and by omission. He lied too, saying it was a routine procedure, not for prostate cancer. That's not a routine procedure. You could say technically it is, or not routine, but elective procedure. But you could say technically it is, but it's not because nobody wants to hope for the best on prostate cancer. It kills a lot of people. So anyway, so he lied and such. But the idea that we should impeach this guy is the stupidest thing I heard today. If it's not the stupidest thing, it's one of the stupidest things I've heard today. Because this is a matter for the people to vote Joe Biden out on. This is a matter for Joe Biden to hold him accountable, and he's not. And I believe it's because of his race, because Joe Biden is identity politics and DEI, which really means DIE. So that's what this is. And so he worships at the altar of diversity. That's Joe Biden does, and everybody with his staff. They ain't got to fire this guy. They should, but they're not going to, because that's not what's more important is the color of his employee there. Second of all, they're saying we should impeach Merrick Garland. Quite possibly. Some Republicans are, if they don't charge Hunter Biden with contempt of Congress for failing to comply with a subpoena. You know, it's funny. I don't agree with much of anything leftist NBC News says, but today they called it in their coverage of this story a go-to release valve, impeachments, for a fractious and frustrated Republican conference that's struggling to impose its will on Democrats in the Senate and the White House. I will say that, yes, if you start saying you're going to impeach this person, that person, this person, then yes, it is a go-to release valve. And you look pathetic. So do Mayorkas, investigate Biden, and move on. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you support House Republicans impeaching SecDef Lloyd Austin for lying to his superiors about a surgery and not having his cabinet position covered while he was hospitalized? And do you think Republicans should also impeach Attorney General Merrick Garland if he doesn't prosecute Hunter Biden for refusing to show up for his behind closed doors subpoena? No and no. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I think we need to let the American people decide on what they want to do with this administration, which should be to fire them. That's exactly what I think. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Now, this is huge right here. Did you see these illegals today filling up a high school, kicking out the entire student body with no notice, telling parents, hey, tomorrow your kids will not be in school, and the next day they will not be in school because we have illegals coming in to stay here because a bad storm is coming, and the shelter place, the location, the park, and the shelter type of stuff that we did, we were warned, and you guys that live here in this area knew that it would not work. It would be a disaster. It floods when there's bad weather and all this kind of stuff, and yet we still did it because Mayor Adams doesn't know what to do, and so our backup plan is when the bad storm and the really cold weather hits, we put the illegals into your kids' school. This is a very, very high minority school. It is a school that has 73% of the students are economically disadvantaged. This is one of those, I think it was a Title I school, where almost everybody's getting free lunch. And you have a huge percent of Black and Hispanic. 53% of everybody in that high school, out of 4,000 students who attend Madison High School, where this all happened in New York City. And 53% of those students are Black and Hispanic. And also they're described in this, one of the many articles I read today this is in the Daily Mail. It's a working class. These are working class people, mostly Black and Hispanic. No warning. And the parents had to go to work in the morning and they're told, nope, your kid's staying home tomorrow. Number two, did you know this? Did you catch this today? When the students they were told to log in, just like COVID again. Do school from home tomorrow and the next day. They were told to log in, and most of them logged in. Well, a lot of them logged in, and a lot of teachers enough teachers did not even show up. They didn't even log in. They weren't there. Teachers. And you'll hear one of the moms talking about that in a montage of audio clips I have that'll be playing for you coming up at 9 o'clock on the Chris Krok Show. But so they went to a heavily minority working class / poor, high, free breakfast, free lunch school, and kick the kids out to stay at home and possibly starve. Some people are saying this because they don't have the money to feed their kid. I addressed that separately on another day. But the point is, these are people that need it the most. And Joe Biden kicked him in the teeth, and Eric Adams kicked him in the teeth because they can do that. The New Yorkers that live there that really know these areas and know their city, they say that you're not doing this. They list several neighborhoods that are lily white in New York City and have a lot of money. They ain't doing it there. No. Ain't going to do that. No. Got to protect the rich folk there in New York City. So we'll get into the details on this. You'll hear some really compelling audio of parents that are super mad. You're going to hear the New York City councilwoman This is on my Twitter feed, too. You can see it yourself at Chris Krok Show on Twitter, at Chris Krok Show, ChrisKrok. Follow me on Twitter and on Facebook. But you'll hear from a New York City councilwoman who goes apoplectic on this as well. All that's next. Chris Krok Show, News Talk 820 WBAP and 93.3 FM.